Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cog Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to yet another Liverpool news episode. Of course, obviously, we had the breaking news episode earlier on today, obviously discussing Liverpool making contact with with Florian Wirtz, of course. And again, we spoke about that in depth, didn't we, earlier on tonight? But again, we are here to talk about the latest at Liverpool news, not only talking about Florian Wirtz, but of course we are here to talk about Jeremy Frimpong and of course Dean Huijsen as well. Obviously they are the two names at the minute that are, apart from Florian Wirtz, that of course are flying about. Of course, again, obviously Jeremy Frimpong looks like a deal could be getting very, very close. Of course, we'll talk about the update on him, and of course we're going to kickstart the show talking about Dean Huijsen, and it looks like he's going to go to Real Madrid. Shock, that I think a lot of people are a bit like that. It's like shock as soon as Real Madrid come knocking, the deal gets done anyway. But again, we are going to talk more as well a bit later on about the Florian Wirtz situation, of course, as well. So again, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. We're very intrigued to know all of your guys' thoughts down below, of course, as always. Excuse me. And of course, let me know, like I said, everything we do mention in tonight's episode anyway. But like I said, we're going to kickstart the show talking then about Dean Huijsen, of course. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano coming out in the last hour, of course, confirming that Dean Huijsen has an agreement with Real Madrid, as it does say by here, as you guys can see. Bournemouth have approved Real Madrid's conditions for Dean Huijsen deal with 50 million release clause to be paid by the end of 2026. Deal done, club to club. Final green light needed to proceed and seal the deal with players' camp, as Huijsen always give priority to Real Madrid, which, again, I think that's pretty noticeable, isn't it? Yet again, obviously with Dean Huijsen, that's always been the case, isn't it? The fact that if Real Madrid come knocking, they will end up getting him. And of course, on a Liverpool side of things, yet again, it's frustrating because, again, yet another player that Liverpool have been linked with is going to Real Madrid. Obviously, us losing Trent to Madrid. And of course, Dean Huijsen also going there now. Of course, it was obvious that it was going to happen. At some point, I think, if Carlo Ancelotti had been the manager of Real Madrid, I don't necessarily know if they would have gone for Dean Huijsen or if they would have waited an extra year. Maybe they might have, hoped that he'd stayed at Bournemouth for an extra year, in particular. But of course, I think everybody had that same feeling, didn't they, of once Real Madrid come knocking, of course, Dean Huijsen was always going to choose Real Madrid. And I think on a Liverpool side of things now, who do Liverpool go for that centre-back position? Of course, there's rumours that Liverpool have been looking at Dean Huijsen for a while, of course, and you kind of get that kick in the teeth again that Liverpool have lost out again, because there's rumours as well that he was the Premier League team that that Dean Huijsen was going to choose. It was going to be Liverpool Football Club. But, of course, Liverpool will have a plan B and a plan C for this. I do think, in particular, we're going to look at a left-footed centre-half. I do think, maybe Jarell Hato is maybe an option at centre-half, potentially. Or, there's rumours going out there, to potentially some defenders, of course, in the Portuguese league at the moment as well. So, of course, Liverpool will have plenty of options to choose from. But, again, I think it is frustrating, for a lot of people, the fact that we've missed out on another target to Real Madrid. And I think that's the main real frustration, really, because, again, Dean Huijsen, you look at over the last couple of years, got his move to Juve, not really used. Then, looked at, was at Roma under, Jose Mourinho, had a very good spell there, went back to Juve. Juve then sold him to Bournemouth, which, I think even they realised they buggered up in terms of selling him. And then, of course, now he is going to go and join Real Madrid, which, look, at the end of the day, fair play to him. He's going to get his move. And look, it is frustrating that Liverpool aren't going to get him. But look, we are gonna, of course, talk about him, and of course now we can just move on and think of other targets, I think, which is a good thing as well. Anyway, but big up John as well, saying, "Hi Con, thoughts on the Chiesa being linked to Napoli?" I have seen these rumors. Again, I'm not reading anything into him. Like, we haven't got him. I haven't got him up for the for the slides or anything, but I've seen the rumors. I don't think what's been reported is going to happen, really. Napoli apparently want a loan, just a straight up loan for Chiesa. That's never going to happen. If Liverpool want to offload Chiesa, again, we're going to be looking at, if it is going to be a loan, an obligation to buy at least for him. But yeah, at the minute, I don't think there's too much into it. Again, I wouldn't be too surprised if Juve come back in for him, really. I really wouldn't be shocked at this point anyway. But big up Bri as well, saying, "Yes, Conrad, hope you're good." I'm very good, mate. Hopefully you and the baby and Bella are all good, and the little man as well. But long time no see, Con. I know it's been a busy day, very, very busy day. Of course, I think the Florian Wirtz news, I think, just shocked everyone because it's been consistent since about 10 o'clock this morning. The first whispers was about the Florian Wirtz stuff, but yeah, look, we will talk more about that, of course, anyway. But supposedly Alonso, who's told them that who he wants for the centre back position, meant to be shifting Real to a 3-4-3, similar to what he played at Leverkusen. Yeah, supposedly they're the rumours, according to Marca. They're the rumors that are going around. He is going to go to the 3-4-3, which will probably mean one of the big three up front has to leave. Really, I think for this system of what Xabi Alonso likes to do, I can't see a world where where Real Madrid play Vinny Jr., Mbappe, and Rodrigo in that three. I don't see that happening. I think one of them will leave. I think everybody is focusing too much, I think, on Rodrigo leaving, which, again, do I think Liverpool should sign Rodrigo? No, I don't. Again, every time I've seen him play, he's not been good. He's not been good at all. But I look at it, and genuinely, I would not be surprised if Real Madrid sold Vinny Jr. in the near future. That might be mad for me to say, but there's something there with Saudi, that could happen. They've already shown an example of they want to make a statement, and considering they have the World Cup in a couple of years' time, what a bigger way to make a world record deal for Vinny Jr. Really, and make Mbappe the number one guy at Real Madrid that they wanted. They wanted it obviously years ago. But of course, that's just me saying that. But look, you think about their team next year. Was it Courtois in goal, Asensio, Rudiger, Huijsen, Trent, Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga, and then the front three? I do think one player that's going to massively benefit in the Xabi Alonso system is Artagula. I think Artagula is going to be really good for Real Madrid now. I really do. But Gonzalo Inacio as a name that's gone under the radar. Yeah, Zane. Obviously, I think Gonzalo Inacio has been linked to Liverpool's thing since 2019. Which, yeah, he's never moved from Sporting. I wouldn't surprise though if United signed him. Really, because again, the Sporting link and the fact that Ruben Amorim really liked him at Sporting as well, which again, that's just something to see anyway. But weirdly enough, Branthwaite would be perfect for use, but stay away. Hey, look, Ricky's already told you, like, Liverpool are going to sign Branthwaite. He told you months ago that it was going to happen. Anyway, but to answer your question, Brett, yes, Fry is unfortunately an Evertonian, but a good Evertonian as well, I would say. But big up Cop and Chat as well, big up Zachary as well. But Yokong, do you rate Incapi? No, I really don't. Was it last summer everyone was raving about Incapi? I don't like. I don't like him. Personally, I think he's very rash in the tackle. But yeah, I don't particularly think he's a player that Liverpool should be looking at. Anyway, but yes, Safi Perret. Yes, he isn't strong enough for the Premier League. Who's this for run? Who you on about there? But yeah, it doesn't work with the attackers they've got. But that's what is being reported. One of them have to leave, and it won't be Mbappe. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think Rodrigo will leave, and I also think Vinny will leave in the next year or two to Real Madrid. I really do. I think people, I think everybody is like, oh, Real Madrid have this Galactico team. Everybody wants to join Real Madrid because look at the team that they've got. Look at it this year. Like Real Madrid, like okay, maybe under a different manager, because I feel Carlo Ancelotti is kind of maybe tactics wise is kind of wind down a little bit. Maybe obviously if he comes to the Premier League, you'd be sound. But I think now, of course, him going into an international management, the Brazil job will be his last job ever in football, you would think, really. But I look at it and go, Real Madrid over the last 12 months, even last year in the Champions League, they wasn't the best. When they won the Champions League, they, you looked at that team and you kind of went at sometimes like, they're awfully relying on individual brilliance to get them out of, tough positions. And, Vinny in the Champions League especially, had brilliant individual moments, Bellingham as well. This year, it's kind of been different. I think the whole league phase of the Champions League really showed, what Real Madrid are. I think in that team, I think that, to be fair, I do think for me, I do see that anyway. But look, that's just my opinion. Anyway, but Run said Wirtz as well. I love Florian Wirtz. I think he's brilliant. Like, again, if the rumors are true, like we'll talk about him a bit later on, but if the rumors are true, of course, that the number one place is Bayern Munich for him. Imagine that front four: Elise, Wirtz, Musiala, and Harry Kane. It's the best front four, probably in Europe. I would say easily. It's definitely an interesting one. I would say for sure. Anyway, but I don't disagree. To be honest, Colin Rodrigo is massively unsettled at the moment, and Vinny will do a Neymar with Messi and hate being in Mbappe's shadow as well. But yeah, I can see that. And even with even with Alonso coming in now, I kind of look at it and go, for Real Madrid, how long will it be before they turn? Because we know how entitled Real Madrid are, their fans especially. Obviously, there's reports that there's an agreement with Leverkusen that Alonso can go to Real Madrid for the Club World Cup. It's not going to work overnight. Them changing from a 4-3-3 or whatever they've played this season, or 4-2-3-1 to a 3-4-3, and being tactically structured. I think for some of the players it'll work okay, but I think for obviously the big heads, like Vinny, like Mbappe as well, I just don't think they'll do the work. And in a Xabi Alonso system, you have to press. If someone doesn't press, if nobody does the trigger run, again, it's so easy to get past by Leverkusen if one player doesn't follow up in the press. And that for me is the one where I look at it and go, we have to go and get really, with their press, that's where they'll end up succeeding or not succeeding, really. Anyway, but big up Kev as well, saying yes by Wirtz to Liverpool and Sam Tali, for fuck's sake. Oh, I like that. To be fair, I do need my haircut. I'm having it done Friday as well. But they're breaking the news to me with that haircut. But hey, there is nothing wrong with Samuel Tali, mate. Again, he killed a White Walker. That was his big claim to fame. And again, nothing wrong with that. Anyway, but I hope you're doing well, Kev. Anyway, but look, on the Dean Huijsen stuff, I look at it and go, you know what, whatever. We'll move on and look for the next person anyway. But let me just double check if there's anything else with the Dean Huijsen stuff. Anyway, let me double check because I don't know whether or not if there was more news again, because there's been different reports where obviously Romano posted something about it. Like even now, like there's different things as well with Florian Wirtz as well coming out. Let me quickly like that as well, so you guys can show you a bit later on. But yeah, in terms of Dean Huijsen, the deal's done. He's going to he's definitely going to Real Madrid, which look, at the end of the day, fair play to him. Anyway, and look, at the end of the day, Liverpool now have to look for plan B as well for that option anyway. But moving on then and talking about potential done deals, and obviously we spoke about it. We've definitely spoken about this gut fella for a very, very long time. Of course, it's Jeremy Frimpong. Of course, it looks like the deal is getting done. It looks like it's getting very, very close to being complete. And of course, it does look like that the deal will be potentially done before the end of the week, if I get my words out correctly. As you guys can see right now, of course, Fabrizio Romano again a bit earlier on saying that understand talks between Liverpool and Jeremy Frimpong's camp over personal terms have advanced again today. Players have always been keen on the move. Liverpool are processing on salary, length of contract, and every detail of the agreement. Deal close, and that's from Fabrizio Romano as well, which again is great news. Really, look, because I know there's been a bit of unsettlement, I think, with the Jeremy Frimpong news, because again, a lot of Liverpool journals have turned around and I think was it David Lynch mentioned that in his opinion you wouldn't put everything on Jeremy Frimpong joining Liverpool. And look, that's fair enough on his reporting. But again, a lot of international journalists, obviously including Fabrizio Romano in that, again, of England, that the Jeremy Frimpong deal is very much closing down to its, closing closing minutes. And I look at it and go, I think he's a fantastic signing. For God's sake, what the hell's just started? But no, I think he'd be a fantastic signing. I genuinely do. I think for me, Frimpong adds that extra element to the Liverpool team. I've seen people again today, going like, oh, if we sign Kirkes, if we sign Frimpong, don't know how Liverpool structure and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I very much trust the people at the club more than listening to anybody talking, including myself in that. Look, there's been signings in the past that I've looked at and gone, I don't know why we're signing him. The number one guy for me was Gini Wijnaldum. I didn't understand at the time why we were signing a left midfielder. And there was rumours that he was going to play in centre mid, but it turned out to be one of the best signings in Liverpool's history for, what was it, £25 million at the time. Unbelievable business for us. And look, that's the smart thing where, again, there'll be players this summer that Liverpool do buy that haven't been linked yet. Florian Wirtz, for example, is a great example of that. Liverpool didn't have him on the list, or people didn't have him on the list of being linked. And look, the club have been quite honest and open, and they've said that, look, if a deal can be done, Liverpool will do it. And I think with Frimpong, it opens up that it opens up a different style for Liverpool to go down, because we know how Arne Slot, I think he takes everything from each game he plays. For me personally, watching him this season and adapt to certain things, he definitely has, again, learned and adjusted throughout the season. And I think the one game in particular where he was kind of maybe, set back a little bit was PSG. And it was the PSG games where he looked at it and was like, these are a very, very good team. And of course, obviously, unfortunately, we got knocked out by them. But he learned a lot from that PSG team. And I think going into this season, or I say this season, going into next season, of course, he wants to maybe replicate what they've got, in terms of intensity with their fullbacks in their midfield. And I hope we can, transform that to Liverpool and dominating the Premier League and obviously dominating Europe, because PSG, look like they could go on to win the Champions League. I think they are, what are we saying they're favourites for the Champions League this season, in the final against Inter. Of course, Inter, they've been there before with the same manager. So again, they'll know what to expect. But still, even, for me, PSG are a phenomenal team. And I think what we're trying to do, potentially with Kirkez and potentially with Frimpong, is try to bring that to Liverpool, try and bring that intensity from the fullbacks and have, the midfield as a passive midfield. We kind of saw it against Arsenal a little bit, where we've seen it throughout the season, where the two have been the main importance to build up. And I think that for me is the big thing going into next season, where we build up with the the 4 defenders and the 2 DMs, and then the 4 attackers then can just attack, really similar to how PSG do, where you've got that they can literally have, Dembele, Barcola, Desiree Doué, and Ramos or anybody else, Kvaratskhelia as well, also in that mix, that can add quality to it. And I think that's what Liverpool are going to try and replicate in the summer, for sure. Anyway, but big up Rods as well. Hope you're doing well, mate. Saying big up, my brother. Hope you're well. I'm doing very good, thank you, mate. Hopefully you're doing well as well. But nothing at all. Just the beard and the hair made you the spit. The spit when I turned on. To be fair, I do need a haircut. It is getting way too long. I'm not even gonna lie about that. It is getting way too long as well. Anyway, but no, it is getting done Friday. So it will be short hair corner as well, because obviously in the hot weather you need short hair. But says Kev, it's literally Con for God's sake Ozan, as well as you said. But I just looked up who Samuel Tali is. We don't need this comparison, boys. We really don't. Any of Rodrigo, Sesko, Isak, or Alvarez would do for me. The last two, yes. Isak, Alvarez, 100% agree with you. Sesko has potential to, of course, get to that level. Of course, he does. Rodrigo, like I said, for me, it's something with me that just doesn't agree that he's a great player. It must be whenever I watch him, he has bad games, like every single game. I know Ricky absolutely hates it when I say Rodrigo isn't that great. But genuinely, like every single time I've watched him, he's not had a good game, like once. It's kind of like Martinez at Inter. Like you look at his stats and then you go, whenever I watch him, he doesn't do that. And of course, I think he's 100% that anyway. But again, I think it'd be interesting anyway to see who Liverpool do bring in. But getting the kids to sleep, chat soon. Hope you're doing well anyway, Kev. To be fair anyway. But of course, we'll move on from Frimpong. Again, the deal looks to be getting very, very close for Jeremy Frimpong. And look, hopefully we'll hear maybe some news tomorrow or Friday, of course, linking, of course, him to that. Anyway, but let me quickly. What is that's just broken now? So we do have more news on Wirtz. So we are going to talk about Florian Wirtz right now. So this is breaking right now. Obviously, this is taken from Anfield Sector as well. Pick up them guys as well, because obviously all the Liverpool news is around them guys as well. But we quickly bring this up. So it does go on to say, as by here, it says, a Florian Wirtz move to Bayern is not the most likely outcome. Man City are pushing and concrete talks with the player have taken place. The Wirtz family also met Liverpool on Tuesday, which suggests that talks with the Reds are also advanced as well. That's breaking right now from Kicker as well, which, again, of course, they were the first people to announce that, again, the Florian Wirtz stuff was true. As well, but it will be interesting to see as well, because there is also there's also more news, of course. Obviously, taking it from this is obviously like it's basically like Anfield Sector, but for by Leverkusen, and of course it does go on to say this. Of course, breaking everything indicates that Florian Wirtz will leave Bayer Leverkusen this summer. It does go on to say a move to Bayern, who would probably struggle to pay the 150 million euro release clause, 150 million euros asking price, and apparently speculation on being able to sign him for a lower price in 2026 is not the likeliest option. Instead, Manchester City are pushing, and concrete talks with the player have taken place. The Wirtz family have also met Liverpool on Tuesday, which suggests that talks with the Reds have also advanced. But just like with Man City, they have not yet been finalised. The English clubs would easily be able to meet the asking price. That's the big one for me. Would be, again, this is the big one. Would easily match the price. So you mean Liverpool have money? All this time, we wondered that Liverpool didn't have any money. But no, as it does go on to say there, the English clubs could easily be able to meet the asking price and represent a serious option for Wirtz this summer. Real Madrid could also throw their hat in the ring. Xabi Alonso appreciation for the player is well known of the rumour that he would like to lure the 22-year-old to Madrid. Again, I'd absolutely hate that if that was to be true anyway, but that is huge news. Again, obviously it is from Kicker as well, so do take it with, a little bit of salt anyway, but still, that's the big one, I think, for me, is where it says there, the English clubs would easily be able to match the asking price. That's, it's very much an interesting one. Anyway, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts on the Florian Wirtz news. But again, there's more and more stuff breaking as we're live right now. So again, there might be even more news to break tonight, of course, because normally we do end up hearing news quite late on from like Paul Joyce and things like that. Again, it could be a very, very interesting time for Liverpool for sure. Anyway, but I think with Wirtz, like I said, I think Liverpool, of course, will be in the mix for him. I think that's easy enough to say. But I was saying this earlier on to someone that if Liverpool, for example, turn around and bid, let's say Liverpool bid 140 million for him, for example, you then look at it and go, all right, Liverpool could agree everything. What would then stop Manchester City from outbidding us, really? Because we know Man City have the money. It's quite clear. Liverpool, City have the money, and of course their intent is purely based on getting a Kevin De Bruyne replacement. Because again, that team, if they do end up getting Reinders, that midfield of Wirtz, Reinders, and Rodri is a very, very, very good midfield. I know, and it is, especially then when you've got, people like Bernardo Silva that can add to that midfield. You could drop Foden into it as well. Like, there is plenty of options there then for City. And for Liverpool, where does he fit? Where would Florian Wirtz fit in a Liverpool system? And of course, number one is the 10 position. He could replace Dominic Szoboszlai, and of course, Liverpool then go and buy a striker. But also, Liverpool could play with 2 10s. We've seen that this season with Curtis Jones. We've seen it with, with Dominic Szoboszlai as well. Could play on the left in a front 3 as well. If we need it to. You could have a front 4 of Salah, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and Diaz up front, potentially as well. So there are definitely good options for Liverpool to go through. And it's also that sense of, you could play Wirtz as a false 9. And then you'd have to potentially go and buy a new winger, potentially. But also looking at it, you look at the striker market, it's a very dull market, really, unless you are coughing out ridiculous amounts of money, like in terms of Alvarez, Isak. I do think Liverpool are going to go big for someone this summer, but who is it going to be on? Will it be Florian Wirtz? Will it be a striker, again, if Liverpool have the money to splash on 100+ million, signing, then surely you have to go and get Alexander Isak, or you have to try and go and get Alexander Isak, because it's clear Liverpool like him. It's clear, it's obvious why Liverpool like him. He's, the best striker in the league this season for sure. And if Liverpool have that money to go and do it, then you have to go and sign him. You have to, because again, it's like, the thing is, Liverpool need a number 9. We need a number 9 desperately, really, because Jota's legs are going with every game that he plays, and Darwin Núñez just isn't good enough, unfortunately. So Liverpool have to be ruthless and go and get the best in quality. And if the club believes Alvarez is that guy, or if they believe that Isak is that guy, or Sesko, then go and get them, and back them to the moon. Really. And again, I think this type of rumor with Wirtz, I think, screams intentment from Liverpool. I really do. Like, again, I said earlier on that it's annoying in some sense, because again, when you read the David Ornstein article piece and you read, again, Liverpool are interested, but everybody expects him to stay in Germany, whether or not that's to buy a Leverkusen or to buy a Munich. Again, that's frustrating to hear. And again, from David Ornstein, who has, again, in the past reported on players that haven't ended up joining Liverpool, as Twitter has definitely, shown Liverpool, fans out today, with all the, what was it, the Caicedo, the Lavia stuff, the Zupimendi stuff, and that, like, again, that, it's laughable, really. But one thing I will say is that David Ornstein did use similar wording when speaking about Dominic Szoboszlai, and we all know what happened there. Liverpool then ended up signing him and going all in for him. And again, I think if the club believe Julian, I keep saying Julian, if they believe Florian Wirtz is the guy to, again, push Liverpool forward towards a league title, then we'll go and do it. And we know Liverpool will go and do it. It's quite clear we've done it in the past. Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, like, these are the players that Liverpool have gone in the past and signed. And for me, that's something as well that we will end up doing. If they make sense, if Liverpool do it, or if Liverpool think the player is the correct player to go for, we will 100% do the deal. And that's the main important thing, is the fact that we, A, make sure they are the right player, and B, go and do the transfer. Especially now, where you've got Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards here that are fully data driven. You're no longer, yes, you're looking at a player, watching a player from the eye, the eye test, but you're also now with Liverpool, a lot of it now is data driven. Back to what got Liverpool a league title to begin with and got a Champions League, under Jurgen Klopp. Yes, it was a mixture between the data guys, and the scouting department and Jurgen Klopp. But I think now, obviously, with the transfers, again, Liverpool are going to be ruthless. This summer, Liverpool are going to be ruthless. We may end up selling Harvey Elliott. We may end up selling, one or two others that we don't really necessarily agree with. But, I think that's the way Liverpool are going to be now. They're going to be awfully ruthless. And even with the Frimpong, signing, they're going to go and get the best who they think is the best in quality. Because, again, for 30-odd million quid, can you go and sign the quality of Jeremy Frimpong? No. Apart from him, there's no one else you can go and sign, really. And I think that is what makes it, a really, really good deal. I think the Wirtz deal as well, he has a generational talent. And of course, normally Liverpool don't do this. Liverpool would normally sign for example, and probably still will sign like a Xavi Simons and make him world class. Where if we buy Florian Wirtz, we're already buying a world class talent to make him even better, really. And I do think if Liverpool sign him, it shows intentment again to win the league. It does. Of course, we need a striker as well, but it does show intentment anyway. But Also says, I wonder if the squad will consider leaving Trent in Dubai, Con as well. Well, I think many Liverpool supporters would do that, to be fair, Ozan. But no, I like, again, obviously, we now know the Dubai trip is for Trent. So, yeah, that's why Arne Slot's not in Dubai. And instead, he went to Ibiza instead. But I'll put the first bid at 70 mil as well, says Cal. But FSG will probably only offer 66 mil max as well. No, like, again, if it makes sense, Liverpool would do it. I know people turn around and go, oh, the Caicedo bid was never real, and Liverpool only did it to push Chelsea more, for example, as well. And look, that might be true, but I do generally feel like Liverpool really wanted Moises Caicedo, but we had an absolute idiot in charge. I say idiot, I'll retract that statement, nor an idiot. We had Jurgen Klopp's mate in Jörg Schmachter who only knew what to do with release clauses, really. And of course, had really good Bundesliga knowledge. And that was about it. So to be fair, the Florian Wirtz deal might actually have got done with Jörg Schmachter. I say that, mind. He had probably a 10 out of 10 window, signing Endo, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister. But still, like, Liverpool wanted Caicedo. It was clear Liverpool wanted him. And I think, of course, the £110 million bid, people go, oh, it's not real. It was never real to begin with. It was real. Like, let's face that. Because, again, why would Liverpool bid that? For PR reasons. It's bad PR. It's the complete opposite of what you want. Really, something like this is probably bad PR because, again, Liverpool's name is attached to a player that most likely wants to stay in Germany. That's bad PR. For an actual bid and actually putting a bid through and it doesn't work, that's bad PR, for sure. But Zubimendi is going to get bullied in the Prem. He's not physical enough to handle the pace and power of opposition players. Absolutely agree. Last year I wouldn't have agreed with you. I'm not gonna lie, because I was very much fully on the Zubimendi train. But yeah, I look at it now and go, yeah, he's going to get absolutely terrorized in the Premier League. Anyway, but we do have more news from Lewis Steele on the Florian Wirtz. The breaking news from Florian Wirtz, of course, it is taken from Anfield Sector. It does say there remains an expectation that Wirtz will remain in Germany next season, but both Liverpool and City will push to sign him. Wirtz is understood to have softened his stance on joining City in recent months, and the Premier League appeals to Wirtz, and now Liverpool are also keen on him as well. So big news there from Lewis Steele as well from the Mail. So yeah, I do think there is more on this Wirtz stuff. Like, is it going to be, plain sailing? Like, oh, look, Liverpool are going to just walk in and, get the deal done? No, I don't think that's going to be the case. But again, I do think this Wirtz story is far from over. I really do believe that. But still, if City have softened the blow of him, over recent months, come to the Premier League champions, come to the side, that's won 6 European Cups. Come over to the best team in the world. Really, and I know we'll instantly go Real Madrid, but you guys know where I mean. Again, come to the best team in England, the most successful team in England, the biggest team in England, that is Liverpool Football Club, as well. But look, I do think this Wirtz stuff, I don't think it's over. I do think there are some twists and turns in this story. Again, this might be the biggest transfer story of the summer, potentially, with Liverpool, Bayern, and Manchester City in the race for him. Because again, like we said, Liverpool have the opportunity to go big this summer. Of course we do. And look, hopefully we will learn of more news over the next couple of days and weeks. But still, again, there's more stuff breaking now as I'm saying that. I do think it will be very interesting as well. But what else do we have anyway? Again, let me know your guys' thoughts. Of course, there's 12 people in right now. Again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. I'm pessimistic on the Wirtz con. He'll go to Munich. I think he'll go to I think he will go to Munich, but we can hope, can't we? Really, anyway. But Big Up Hero as well, saying evening all, getting hot with these transfer links. Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's going to be a very big summer this year. Of course, we're going to be here all, with every step, really, of course. So, again, make sure you are subscribed to the Cop Council YouTube channel. And, because, of course, we are on the road to 4K now as well. So, look, I think this could potentially be the biggest summer news, biggest transfer, really, of the summer. Because the problem is with Bayern Munich, they don't have money. Everybody thinks, oh, Bayern Munich, top club in Germany. You think, oh, they've got millions upon millions to spend. Now, supposedly, what Bayern Munich are trying to do is get them down to 100 million euros, which is what, 80 something million. And of course, it's not going to work because Bayer Leverkusen are quite clear on this. They are not willing to sell to Bayern Munich unless it is for 150 million euros, which is what, 130 something million. And with that being said, they think that I think this is Bayern Munich, by the way. They think, if again they get, teams to not necessarily come in, but obviously if teams obviously look at him and go, oh, maybe they're not going to go all in, then Bayer Leverkusen might soften their stance. Of course, they're not going to do that. It's either 150 or he stays at Bayer Leverkusen, which I think again they absolutely deserve the right to, because look, they are the only team in recent years that have stopped apart from Klopp's Dortmund to stop Bayern Munich from winning. To stop winning them, stop them from winning the Bundesliga. So with that being said, again, of course, Bayer Leverkusen don't want to upgrade Bayern Munich. Of course, already they're going to upgrade because Jonathan Tah looks like he's going to go to Bayern on a free transfer. Of course, there was rumours he was meant to be going to Barcelona, but now that's not happening now. Apparently, Vincent Kompany has had lots of words with Jonathan Tah, which has now made him change his mind and go to Bayern Munich. Which, to be fair, I think that's a really good signing as well. But still, again, they don't want to upgrade Bayern Munich as much as possible. They want to have a fighting chance once again of winning a Bundesliga. And of course, with Florian Wirtz, again, they want to do that. Saying that, mind, probably Florian Wirtz wants to get out of Bayern Leverkusen because the rumoured number one target for them is to replace Xabi Alonso. It's Eric Ten Hag. So, yeah, I think I'd be running out of Leverkusen if that was me anyway, personally. But Munich have underperformed for years. Munich have underperformed for years who want to go there with Tin Pot Vincent Kompany. But to be fair, he has won the Bundesliga this season as well. But again, I think it's more the prospect of it's staying in Germany. And obviously, Florian Wirtz is one of Germany's top players. And of course, Bayern Munich, the appeal is simply that. It's again, they could have the German duo of Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz, two Bayern Munich players at the top level of the German national team as well. That is what they would want, And again, when you add to Bayern Munich as well, like I said earlier, they've got that front four, if they was to sign Wirtz, of him, Olise, Musiala, and Harry Kane. That's a scary front four. It really is. And look, for the Champions League, they got, the DM that they want and, obviously the defenders that they want as well. Again, Bayern Munich could be a serious team. As I think somebody just shut the window downstairs. But gonna need a bigger fan. Big summer. Big summer. Yeah, if you can hear my fan, I do apologize, but yeah, it makes me cool. Anyway, but Leverkusen is clearly over-inflating his vote. Yeah, it's true. Leverkusen wants 7-10 Hag. Oh, that doesn't need to be a thing, Ozan. Like, stop that. It doesn't need to be a thing anyway. But look, hopefully you guys have enjoyed tonight's show anyway. Just seeing if there is any more news on the Florian Wirtz stuff. I don't think there is. No, there's not. So, again, if there's any more news, no, I'm not reading Welsh. Callum, no, go away. Anyway, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. Very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts as well. And yeah, again, do let me know your guys' thoughts down below. But yeah, like I said, of course, we've spoken about Dean Huijsen going to Real Madrid. We've spoken about Jeremy Frimpong potentially leaving to Czech Ornstein. Why are you telling me Czech Ornstein? What's Ornstein said? David Ornstein. He's not said anything, has he? No, 4 hours ago. He's not said anything. Oh, what are you on about, Ozan? He hasn't said anything. I thought then maybe, he's come out with a breaking news thing, but is there anything else? Yeah, no, there's nothing else. Again, if I've not seen anything, then I do apologize. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed tonight's show. As Heroes already said, ta-ra. As I always say at the end of videos anyway. It's nice to say goodbye. Anyway, but no, look, hopefully you guys have enjoyed anyway. Like I said, if there is any more news on Wirtz, Frimpong, anything else, then of course we'll be live for it anyway. But yeah, until next time, guys, that is going to be it from us. Of course, if you're not yet following us on Twitter, then go and follow us on Twitter, because we'll be talking about that on there as well and other bits and pieces. Anyway, but until next time, guys, that is going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the Cock Council. We'll see you guys tomorrow in another episode where we might do a Wirtz special anyway. But yeah, see you guys next time. Ta-ra.